Hello and welcome to Dreadful Effects. This is the workshop. Come have a tour. Hello, I'm Benjamin from Dreadful Effects and welcome to the workshop where we are making a lot of props and masks and prosthetics for Shrouded Destiny. Well, 7 years ago I helped a friend making some demons for his short film. I was stressed out on work, so this project really gave me peace in my mind and a push in a creative path. Since then, things just has escalated. Well, most of all the finished project, that's gonna be neat, but seeing all the creatures that we have created in this workshop come to life, that is definitely the most amazing thing. First of all, I was handed a script, of course, and I was reading, taking notes about all the creatures that Shabazz has written in the script, and make some notes for myself, like about what creatures I could see in the scene. And then we had a meeting, Shabazz and I, where we were discussing the different races and their background and the lore that is around them. And trying to figure out if they actually could fit in the scene as being bad guys or what they're supposed to be. I had a talk with the stunt coordinator June about the different races and their features, so we could find out what would match up with the movements the stunt people were doing compared to what I had in mind for the stunt people and the characters. Because it wouldn't work if I said, oh, this guy should have like 8 arms and big horns and a trunk, and he should do like 7 backflips and landing on a table and splash all over. So that wouldn't work. So we had a lot of talks back and forth about how this could be done. And then I assembled my team of really great people that good at sculpting, good at mold making, good at drawing, good at all this stuff that we really need for making these creatures come alive and look really good on the screen. Yeah. Most of my crew is sculpting in Monster Maker's clay, and some of them are sculpting in wet clay. The difference between those two are that the one is an oil-based clay that you heat up and carves into it, and the other one is a natural water-based clay, which dries up, so your work time is less than the oil-based one. Both of them has different qualities compared with your sculpting preferences, technique and time. The thing about wet clay is that it's a pretty quick hardened clay. You have only like a couple of days where you can work on it, compared to the oil-based clay that you can just leave on your work desk and come back like a week later and work on. The material we're using for the mask and prosthetics are mostly silicone, which is a two-based material, two-component material that you mix together with some kind of pigment to match the color you want to make your prosthetic in. Then you just let it cure and you can pull out your prosthetic or mask or whatever you made. Some of the other materials we're using is foam latex, which is again a multi-part material that you mix up and gonna put it in a mold, and then you have to bake it for like 2 or 3 hours. And then you can pull it out of the mold, and it'll be a really awesome prosthetic. We're also using 3D transfers, which is mostly based on adhesive, and which is put into a mold, and then it's a big process about putting it in the freezer and drying it for like a week. But it's like the chewing gum tattoos you had when you were a kid, and then just stick it on, you have a nice 3D prosthetic. Here we are at the casting workshop where Steen is preparing the Nikto mask to be molded.
Well, working from this finished sculpt, then we need to create a plaster casting of this finished sculpt, so we can mold it out or cast it out in silicone to make our wearable mask. Yeah, and for that we're gonna use a 2-part plaster mold, which is what I'm working on now. So I'm making a parting line for the first part of the plaster mold, and yeah, once that is done, we'll remove the clay wall, do the second part of the plaster mold, and then we have a mold ready to fill.
The Zabrak is a humanoid species from the planet Iridonia. These have horns that grows around the head like a crown. They also have face tattoos, which they received during their rite of passage. And most of you would recognize Darth Maul as a Zabrak. This is Amy, and she's working on some prosthetics for the natives on the planet that the film is taking place on. These are mostly miners who are extracting rich minerals from the planet.
Do they like diamonds?
More like powders and stuff like that. That's what they're selling and exporting. The features of the Crustians are that they have evolved their spine to grow all the way back from the neck and over the head to protect it from damage, actually like a helmet from when they're walking around in the mines. And the skin tones will be like, I want to resemble the skin tones with the sandy surroundings, so they not camouflaging, but you can see they match the surroundings. They also have this very beautiful chin bones that matches the spine that's going all from the back and to the forehead of the head. This is Christian, and he's working on a kind of a Nikto, but more like semi-Nikto, because it's not all the way with the air breathers and stuff like that. This will be small prosthetics that the actor is going to wear. And today we actually made the stunt guy to cut his hair in 2 rows so we can fit the prosthetics between his locks of hair, and it's gonna be awesome. This will be a purple guy with bright yellow contacts and some pointy ears and big teeth, and be very reptilish. The Niktos are this great fellow. Comes from the planet Kintan, and they're like this reptile species, but their features can vary over 5 different sub species. They have this really leathery reptilian skin, and they're known for being fierce warriors. You've seen them in the bark of Jabba the Hutt, standing with big guns and stuff like that from the trilogy, and really looking forward to see this one alive. It's casted in silicone, and this just had this first paint job, the first layer of paint here, so there's still a lot of work to do here. This is a Gand. This is a kind of insect people thingy, and right now Casper is working on the back of it, and he's one of our fastest sculptors right now. He has done this on like 5 hours?
Yeah, 5.5 I think.
Yeah, it's gonna look really good. It has a breather, and it's gonna have some hoses, and
yeah, the hoses is gonna come out from these holes in both of the sides and come to the back and be a part of their breathers apparatus.
actually Casper knows the most of the game.
I don't know that much though, but it's one of the famous creatures that when we are doing a Star Wars movie that all of the fans are going to be looking for, and that's one of the reasons why we chose to have this one, and why it's needed to be one of the stunt guys that really gets a cameo where you can see it, because as a fan you're gonna love the moments where
You
where-
see familiar
yeah,
faces.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the gun shop. These are some of the arsenal that we are making for Shrouded Destiny. And the thing about Shrouded Destiny is that it's 500 years before the trilogy, so we have to rethink the weapons because we couldn't just buy stormtroopers, blasters and stuff like that. So we had to come up with some new designs that gonna match the technology back then. But some of them are actually based on known blasters with modifications, and lots of them are just kit bashing all kind of old crap. So it gotta make it look like it's sci-fi. Example, this one we have like this tubes and all kind of weird stuff and hoses and things from the hardware store, and just glue it all together, paint it up, and then they're gonna look real nice and off-worldly. And this is our own cricket, you know, the one from Men in Black, but this is more badass. Pew pew. Thank you for stopping by the workshop and watch the behind the scenes for Shrouded Destiny. Be sure to follow us on social media and get ready for episode 6. Pew pew!